Hey guys, it's Jessie from Revamp Champ. Welcome to my studio. Okay, here we go. I am showing you today how to do an image transfer onto a piece of wood. I am making a sign with my logo for a store, and so I'm trying this technique out. So basically, you're going to want to take your image and print it on an inkjet printer. Not a laser printer, it won't work. It needs to be inkjet. And for example, mine's a black and white image, and because it's directional, it's words, letters, so it's directional, so it needs to be inverted. I used Photoshop and the invert tool to flip it basically around. So because you're going to be pushing the image down, face down onto the wood, and so basically if you don't invert it, it's going to read backwards. And so that's how it is for anything directional. If you have a specific design, then you need to flip it. But if it's just a general non-directional print image, it doesn't matter. You can just print it on an inkjet printer. Okay, and basically this is how it goes. Okay, so I'm taking the Mod Podge matte finish, and I have a foam brush here, and I'm just going to do a light coat in the area of my image, which is pretty much the center of the board. I don't want it too thick, I don't want big glops of it, but I don't want to miss any spots either. Okay. It's hard to hold the camera and do this, but you know, I'm a one-man show today. I'm sorry, one-woman show. So this is how I'm doing it. I think a GoPro would be nice. I have this cool hand selfie stick, but I'm trying to show you from my point of view here how to do it. So I'm thinking a GoPro might be my next purchase. That'd be funny. All right. Okay, I think I've got a nice coat here. Now I printed my inverted image. Oops, I didn't go wide enough. Okay. I want to center it here. Okay, start in the middle, smooth it out. I don't want any bubbles. And if I do have bubbles, I'm just going to rub it. You could probably use a roller if you have one, or a brayer. It's like a printmaking thing. I don't know, maybe a rolling pin. Got a bubble. There we go. Just rub it out. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry for a few hours. Okay. All right, so we flash forwarded here to the paper is dry. It's dried many hours. And what I'm gonna do is I'm over by the sink here, and I'm gonna tear off most of the paper. Maybe one hand here, sorry. Okay. Oh, this is so cool. All right, Got most of it pulled off. Now, I'm going to take an old sponge here, and just by the sink, I'm just wetting the sponge and letting it saturate the paper all over. Let it soak it up. Okay, it's starting to reveal itself. Pretty cool. And then, it's still soaking it up, but I'm going to use the scrubby side of my old sponge here. Just scrub, 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 scrub. And it's leaving the ink transfer behind. Now, it's going to take a little bit of elbow here. And actually, the more water soaks in the paper, the easier it'll be. So, you know, give it a few minutes or so to absorb. And then you're just going to scrub, scrub, scrub. And you get all those little paper crumbles off. And just keep going. Back here. And this is what I learned in this process, that it's very, very thin. I wiped it away with this wet sponge. That I wiped the paper down to like, probably like the first or second, like if the paper was in a layer, you know, it's like the first or second layer. It's a very, very thin amount of paper on here, allowing us to see the black ink that's still there. And this is what I learned that's not so good. So if you scrub real hard, I was just trying to get the final layer off, and it does take off the ink. If you scrub really hard, right there, it scrubs it all off. So what I'm going to try next is I'm going to paint this board on the other side. I'm going to paint it white. I'm going to paint it like a dry brush of white. And then I'm going to do another transfer on top of that and try it out, because I'm using this for a sign, and it's going to be a little bit of a distance up high. And so I don't think anybody would notice this white paper, like a small amount of paper on white paint, but you can notice it on this pine. And you know, I don't want to scrub it down too much or I'll lose it all. So what I also learned from this is that I'm going to cut out my next inkjet thing very close to the edges, so that you don't, it's less work to scrub off, and then you just don't see any of this stuff here. So I'll just get the center image transferred, and we'll give that a whirl. All right, so I started another piece of wood that I painted a dry brush white, because I thought this was not working. But I took a moment to look back at this and see how it's doing. It's been about an hour since I thought I was peeling off the black. And now I'm just using my finger and it's staying. I thought I was scratching it all off. Perhaps if I used my fingernail, it would come off. But I'm just rubbing my finger. The remnants here of the paper is still damp to the touch, but it's not as saturated as it was before when I was scrubbing away. So this, my friends, is the trick. You do what I was doing before with the wet sponge. Get it to a point, stop, maybe let it go for like an hour, and then come back with your fingers and just rub it off. Because it's working! So cool. All right, lastly, I got most of it off. There's a little bit of paper remnants here. And it's got like a sort of a grayish tone. So, a little rustic, and but my daughter actually had the idea. She said, "Mom, why don't you try light sandpaper?" And I was worried it would take off the black, but it's not. I'm just going about it lightly. know, I could be detailed about it. And get... And that cleans it up a bit. So I'm just working with it here. But technically, it did transfer. Interesting.